During the summer of 2023, we moved to a remote Scottish Hebridean island to be its only two residents, along with our 2 pet sheep and pair of cats. These remote islands seem to retain an old-fashioned rhythm and a charm which we find encouraging us to live a more frugal and simple life, the way man was perhaps more intended to. We have an ancient stone cottage to restore, veggies to grow, livestock to build up, fish to catch and smoke, a boat to buy, and much more. Step back in time with us at the Scottish Isle. Eyes are starting to go squint.
What are you up to?
I'm counting. See here. Have a look. See how quickly it grew to start with. These wide rings, and then slower and slower until right at the edge you can barely see. So here, where my finger is, I'm up to 50 years. So...
Well, I think 86.
Well, I have to stop my eyes from squinting before I keep counting, but I'm absolutely loath to chop all this up for kindling. It's too valuable a wood and it's too nice a wood. So, yeah, if there's anybody out there that knows somebody local to this area that can come and help us mill this. I contacted a mill in Fort William, but they're not mobile. Basically, they just they get lumber delivered to them, and they can't come out here. He recommended somebody else to me, but I can't find that person online. Can't find the other mill online. So, if anybody knows anybody that can help out, we want to mill this. We want to make boards. We want to put it in the house. We want to make things from it: bookshelves, furniture. We don't want it to just rot. I'm up to 70. Can't see. I need my glasses.
I've got mine.
120 up to here, and then I can't count them anymore.
So let's say 1900, yeah? So a 124-year-old tree.
I was going to say everything that this tree's seen, but it'll have only seen a couple of generations of islanders.
You got an email from somebody, didn't you?
Yeah, viewer who says he's
Got a portable sawmill.
Yeah, and he's up here sometimes, so he might be able to come and help. I just can't. I cannot reconcile myself with chopping this all for firewood. Look at it.
Well, my brother said to me the other day that cedar is incredibly expensive, and we've had so many people on the comments saying exactly the same thing.
Well, I know that they used it for making things like blanket boxes back in the day because it's naturally insecticidal, right? So it keeps clothes moths away and stuff like that. They would make cupboards out of it. And
when we are chopping this, as in sawing it, if we stored the shavings, could we put that in the sheep's pen? Or is it not good for them? Or because I'm just thinking about from a point of view of sanitation purposes to keep it smelling clean, and because if it is that way inclined, wouldn't we be able to get up the sawdust shavings and just throw them in there? If we collected them, put them in a bag and kept them dry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we're milling it. No, I'm saying when we're milling it. It just...
Well, the fact that this chap got in touch and said what he said was just what got us thinking more about the fact that, and, you know, like I said, other people stating just how precious this wood is. It's just
I mean,
it's just the logistics.
I wouldn't care. I actually wouldn't care what kind of wood it is, if it, no matter how expensive or inexpensive. You know, there's trees falling down, and I want to use it regardless of what it is. I want to use it in the house, and it's like manna from heaven, right? This fell over at this time, at this season, for a reason, and we're here, and we're redoing the cottage. It needs to go in.
This is your planks bit, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, well, and this too.
Well, in my head, this is always smaller than it is. When I come up here, I'm always surprised by just how, I mean, this is what, 13 foot in length? It's probably 15 feet in length, this piece. So for things like floorboarding, and let's not forget, there's also that trunk.
Yeah, and look behind you. Well, once your back's up to it, obviously all these branches need cutting, and we can keep these for various things. We can make things out of them, make posts, or we can make kindling. These bits, these big rounds down here, I like to stand them up so that they're not sitting flat on the ground, because they're just going to absorb all the moisture from the ground down.
This here is a relatively flat piece, yeah. So this here is going to be perfect for axing on. So if we can move that out of the way and push that and land it exactly where that piece is, and then we can do what we want with the others.
Let me help. We're not going to be able to move that. It's also, that's sitting on that. So it needs rolled first. We need the log roller.
Hang on. It's just pushing it over to... Hang on. Right, I've got it. Pull that back where it was, yeah? Move this, and then gravity's going to take that, and we can just throw it that way.
Get a stick. It's going to just break. And there you go. So that's your chopping block.
I can take that off with the chainsaw, and then that's going to make a perfect chopping block up here. Great height as well.
Okay, so let's maybe get a couple of those and put them here and get these up off the ground.
Too big, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you might be alright with two.
Oh, there's another one here. I'll just put this one's the same size as them.
Because then it'll just sit in between two.
I just don't want it falling in.
Leave it there. If it'll stay.
Hang on, let me get round it.
Yep, I'll do. You might not be able to roll it very easily over that edge. There's another one over there.
Should go on there, shouldn't it?
I think. One, two, three, four, five. 5 coffee tables. Cut them in half. The Scottish Isle coffee tables. The Scottish Isle Coffee Table Company. We're going to need another one, aren't we? Okay.
Need to dry out, and then once they're dried out, we'll tarp them. But I'm happy with that.
Dries out.
Yeah, they need to get the wind to them, don't they? You don't want to be putting a tarp.
You're banking on no rain.
You got
to.
So this bark, like you say, it's already sodden.
Okay. Well,
I can just say forever that is going to be a chopping block. So that is not going anywhere other than down the hill. It's raining again.
Is it?
Yeah.
For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under the heavens. In these winter days of darkness, storm and introspection, our minds anticipate the first signs of spring and our eyes look eagerly toward the earth for the burgeoning buds which give the promise of new life. As one great sentinel of the forest falls, the silent witness to a century of comings and goings of islanders it shared its home with, another already rallies to take its place, giving assurance that as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. As a people, we need these natural rhythms and their guarantees of hope, and it is one of the reasons we yearn for a simpler life, for a time when the pace was slower and the earth somehow closer at hand. Man has eternity in his heart. We inherently understand our connection to our past and the hope of our future, like the roots and branches and seeds of a tree. And like the rings of a great tree, our lives, our experiences, are how we grow. 1 year, 1 ring of happiness or trial does not replace the sum of who we are. We don't supplant one season with another. We grow, we increase our wisdom and our talents. There is a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to be born and a time to pass away, a time for war and a time for peace. Everything is beautiful in its time, and we should be joyful and eat and drink and take pleasure in our seasons through which we toil. This is our Maker's gift to us. It's my grandmother's cookbook. I found a recipe in it that I wanted to try because I really like the idea of making something that she's definitely made, and this one's got an X next to it. And she's also altered the recipe a little bit, scored a couple of things out. Don't want that. So I'm gonna give this a go. These old recipes are always a bit ambiguous, it doesn't tell you how hot the oven should be, anything like that. So gingerbread, and it sounds like it's the kind of gingerbread that I like, which is the cakey kind. So I'm going to give this a go today, seeing as it's a wet and windy day out there. Here is the recipe for anyone who would like to try it. The only thing I don't have on the list is nutmeg, but I reckon we can make do. treacle's the thing that's going to make this cake really moist. I think you call it molasses in other parts of the world. It's like a byproduct of refining sugar. Cloves are really good for dental health. If you've got a toothache, you can make a tea with ground cloves and hold it in your mouth next to your sore tooth, and it relieves the pain and it fights infection as well. And to add my dry ingredients together, minus the nutmeg, and rub in the butter. Then I have to add the treacle and the eggs and enough buttermilk to make it into a batter. My mother got me this tea set because my grandmother had the exact same one with this ivy pattern. Nice thing to have. By warming the treacle, it makes it a bit easier to deal with. Less like something you'd use to glue felt to a shed. The recipe says add enough buttermilk to get it to a dropping consistency. So I don't know how much that's going to be. That looks about right to me. Okay, and I also have my grandmother's old baking tin, which I've used to make many a Christmas pudding. I'm going to treat this a little bit the same as a Christmas pudding actually. I've double lined it with parchment paper because it's got to go in the oven for 2.5 hours and I don't want it to burn. So something has been clopping about in this trench at night. We think it's a deer, but we've treated ourselves to a trail cam, which I'm going to somehow set on top of a stump that's right there. See if we can't capture it on camera. I would just attach it like that, but the cord isn't long enough to go around the stump, so I'm going to use that. I didn't hear any clopping last night, did you?
Can't say I was listening out for it.
I'm not going to take it off till we know there's something on it. No files.
Okay.
We'll just leave it where it is.
Hey, cat.
Come on in.
Always think she's missing out.
You're a funny little cat.
Nosiest cat in the world.
You said you had a question for me.
I had a question for you. Oh, right. What was it? 3 days, 4 days ago? What happened?
We had an earthquake.
A genuine earthquake?
I've never experienced an earthquake before. Never. And you didn't feel it, did you?
Well, I was in the cabin when it happened.
Because you're on stilts.
Well, I don't know why I wouldn't feel it, but no. I mean, just to interject, I have been in what I would consider a major earthquake, as in house shaking and pipes rattling, etc., which happened in Grimsby. I think the epicentre was not far away from the town, and I don't know, was it 2008 or 9, something like that? And it was massive from the point of view of UK standards. It woke me up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and all the pipes in the house were rattling. And you just think poltergeist, you just think, what is going on? You've got no comprehension of what's happening. And it lasted what seemed like forever, but was probably only about 20, 30 seconds. But this was nothing, this wasn't that magnitude, was it?
No, I think it was, because you second guess yourself, because I've never been, but I checked and it was official. It was like 2.
Well, you looked online, didn't you?
2.3,
yeah,
7 kilometre depth. But I was sitting in at my desk, and I heard it coming behind me, and just a low rumble. Sometimes when we hear that sort of thing, it's a fighter jet going over, but it was a different noise, and I heard it coming from behind me and growing in this rumble coming towards me, and it passed underneath the house, underneath my feet, and away towards the cabin.
I didn't feel a thing.
And there was definitely it rattled our old false teeth, the old dear. But I said to you straight away, did you feel that?
Well, because I was sat there doing some work for whatever episode it was, and all I got on Telegram was, "Did you feel that?" And I'm like, "What?"
It was cool.
But from what annoyed me was, like, 20 seconds before that happened, I was outside, and I'd just come in and sat back down, and then your message pinged up, and it's like, did not feel a thing.
So, well, the upshot of the chat with the owner that we had recently is that it's very likely that we're going to get bees, put them in the orchard. I have kept a hive before.
What happened the last time we had a hive?
You got stung and I never did.
Where did I get stung?
On the eye. On the eyelid.
It was my own fault. I'd been out with the lawnmower, and I just thought, right, I didn't get that close to the beehive, and I thought I was safe, but I got a little too close, and one of them decided that it was going to have a go.
Well, I love bees. I used to sit and watch them for a long time, just coming and going with all the pollen on their legs. They're fascinating wee beasties. So that'll be fun. That'll be nice to set up a hive. And springtime, everything's going to happen in the spring. So springtime is the time to get a nuke, and that's a nucleus of a new hive with a queen and some workers and some frames, and also spring is going to be for shearing sheep and getting a lamb. And
I want to talk to you about that. The sheep never bothered the bees, did they?
No.
They never went anywhere near them, did they?
No, not at all.
And vice versa, there was no problem with them.
But the other thing that we talked about was getting a milk cow. Which would be awesome, because there has been one here before on the island.
Well, the owner was telling us that previous occupants here had a cow kept up at the byre.
Yeah, near
Near
there.
the byre.
And an area that was nice grassland, but it's now, taken over by bracken. So we would need to sort that out. But he has memories of visiting the island and drinking warm milk, and it's raw milk's incredibly good for you, and you can't buy it in the UK. It's illegal, and in lots of countries it's the same actually. But yeah, it's very good for you. So
Why is
that
it
would
illegal?
be. I don't know why it's illegal. Don't ask me. I don't make up the rules.
Is it something to do with the possibility of getting contaminated from it, or?
Yeah, of course it'll be something like that. But if you're milking the cow yourself and you're absolutely certain of your cleanliness.
It just seems a weird thing. Could you get any more natural than taking milk straight from a cow and drinking it? I mean, unfortunately for me, I can't drink cow's milk.
Well, that's not true, because you eat butter and cheese. It's just.
Well, no, but whenever I drink, well, you know what it's like. I can have low quantities of butter and cheese, but whenever I actually have cow's milk in anything.
Well, cheese and butter will be a plenty. That's it's the reason we got Brie, is to milk her.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to, if this happens, that I'm not going to try it. I'm just saying that shop bought cow's milk. I haven't drank cow's milk. I drink goat's milk. I haven't drank cow's milk for 15 years now. And I feel a lot better. I don't feel very well when I drink cow's milk. I won't say that I'm lactose intolerant.
Well, maybe it's because it's so heavily pasteurised. You might find that all the nutrients and the bacteria, the good bacteria that is in raw milk, is actually quite good for you.
And as we've said before, the whole point of getting Brie was to milk her. But in the end, it was like, well, she's a pet. Because she's a milking breed. A lot of people don't realise that you can milk sheep, but her particular breed you can.
Beautiful cheese. Beautiful. If you ever get a chance to try Fern Abbey sheep's cheese, just buy as much of it as you possibly can. It's delicious.
Yeah, shearing.
Shearing in the spring as well, yeah. We get asked about that quite a lot. We will.
We share the sheep every year, or we get someone else to, depending on. But what we found is, with the sheep shearers, when they're out doing the rounds during that period in time and they're incredibly busy, they're in like kind of get this done mode. And even though we try to say to them, look, these are pet sheep, these are not used to being manhandled in any way, they get manhandled. And the last guy that we had shear them, I'm not going to say anything because I've got nothing nice to say. But you know what I mean.
Well, I've done them by hand. We've done them by hand a couple of years, which is a very slow process, but it's much better for them. It's just very sore on the forearms.
What I was going to say to you specifically was, why don't we not shear them so close this time?
It got really hot here in the summer.
Look at it. It's not going to get that hot.
It got really hot in the summer.
Yeah, but they'll just get in the shade.
Muggy.
All I'm saying is, like, rather than take it right down to skin, or more or less.
You don't take it down to skin when you're hand shearing anyway. You can't.
Oh, okay. I can say the guys, when they've got the clippers, do. The amount of cuts and bruises that were all over Brie from the last time. I mean, I can't. When those guys come to do this, I can't watch it. It's just too violent for me. And I just get out of the way, don't I? But when we're doing it by hand, usually you're the one that's doing the shearing. We've both done it at times, but because Brie is such a big sheep and she's so strong and always trying to get away, I have to hold her, don't I? Remember she broke that chair that time?
Yeah, you were sitting on a chair.
Sitting on a chair, and she what about the time where Brie got caught up in the table and chairs when she was a baby? Running around the garden with the chair the table
attached to her,
wrapped around her. She'd somehow got her legs in it and her head in it, in the frame, and the back of the table was on her back, and she's running around the garden. How do you do it?